So hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Wonderful to see you all again, and I'm out with the camera again today. I'm currently just waiting for the rain to die down a little bit, although I have come out deliberately today because I want to enjoy these conditions. It's not rained properly here in the UK for ages, around where I live at least. Honestly, like at least 6 weeks. It's been really dry. It's been nice, but yeah, it's been really dry and cloudless. But I love these conditions and I miss them. And for today's location, I think they're going to suit. Whilst I'm waiting, I just wanted to read out a quick comment that I received on my previous YouTube video from a fella called Christian Ermler, who I believe is from Austria. And I believe he has a YouTube channel as well, so definitely go and check him out. He's just said, "Great video, Henry, with fantastic results. Cheers, Christian. It's unbelievable how we have all learned to appreciate our local areas much more during lockdown and how it's changed our photography. It's brought us to photograph things we have never photographed before and to photograph it in a way we usually wouldn't. But the really interesting thing is these changes have pushed all of our creativity, and I think maybe it's helped us to get to the next level. We will see." Nice greetings from Austria. So thanks a lot for the comment, Christian. And yeah, I just wanted to read that out and mention it really, because I honestly believe it just sums it all up at the minute. Like, for myself, you know, my head isn't even in the lakes or Scotland at the minute. It's just, I'm so grateful to be out in, you know, my local areas with my camera creating these videos. And yeah, I agree, like it's definitely forced me to think outside the box just a little bit, and it's pushed me outside my comfort zone a little bit. You know, my comfort zone is in the mountains, in the lakes, or in Scotland or Snowdonia. And admittedly, I think sometimes, you know, it's difficult to take a bad photograph when you're up a mountain and there's a beautiful sunset. So yeah, this is really challenging me, but in the most positive way possible. So yeah, thanks again, Christian. That's absolutely mint. Sums this all up, and I'm absolutely delighted we've got this real positive light on all of this, because we should do. Now, anyway, I'm going to get myself out in this rain. I've got a couple of locations today that I think you're really going to like. So let's crack on. So I hope you guys can see me all right. This is a bit of a difficult one to film, if I'm being honest. So you find me soaked wet through, muddy hands. Look at the state of that. Oh, rolling around on this beautiful limestone pavement. Living the dream. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world. Oh, it feels so good to be back out with my camera. This is quality, and I'm taking an image here that's definitely in line with this shooting local thing, the 10-mile radius challenge, and it's also in line with the comment that Christian said that I mentioned at the start of the video, you know, pushing yourself out your comfort zones and really photographing things that you otherwise wouldn't. This isn't me. I'm usually up on the side of mountains photographing beautiful sunsets and vistas, but I'm enjoying every second of this. It is quality. Before I get into this shot, I'm sure you'll agree, this is a mint location, and what a really cool landscape. So this is an area of limestone pavement that's kind of fairly commonly dotted about the north of England. If you've watched me for a while, you'll remember that I've shot something quite similar to this in the Yorkshire Dales National Park, which was quality. However, it feels a little bit different here You'll see behind there's some of these like crevices. The correct terminology for them, by the way, are grikes, and the rock is called clints, just in case you ever need to know that. But there's a lot like less grikes here and more clint, more rock, which basically means that I think it was easier to photograph when I was in Yorkshire because it was a lot more uniformed and clean, whereas here it's quite messy, and these sorts of grikes or crevices are a little bit few and far between, and yeah, they're quite chaotic. But this is my photograph. This is the first image of the day, and yeah, I think this is really nice. So this stuff here is called tongue fern or Hart's tongue fern, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think that this is quite rare and it only really grows in these sorts of landscapes. So if that's the truth, then I think this is a cool photograph, even if it's just, you know, an image that epitomizes this sort of landscape. But it's a really nice intimate image. Now you can see, just like in my last video, I've got the camera in a bit of a ridiculous position, but it's getting me the photograph that I want. Settings are a bit funny here, just because you can see there the wind's blowing these ferns ever so slightly. So I'm shooting at f8, ISO 1250, which is giving me a shutter speed of 1/200th of a second, which is fast enough to freeze the motion in these ferns and thus capture as much detail as possible. I'm shooting at f8 just because I really want to be careful with my depth of field. I want to try and make sure all of these ferns are in focus, whereas if I was to open my aperture up a little bit more, which you might think would make sense because I could get a quicker shutter speed, I'd risk, you know, not having all of the ferns in focus, and perhaps only the one that I focused on would be in focus. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, but nice intimate shot to start off the day really, and just a beautiful landscape, and definitely one that deserves a little bit more exploration, so I'd like to think I'll return. But for now I'm going to pop this one up for you guys to see, and then I've got another location which is completely different from this, by the way, that I think you're going to like as well. So this has been pleasant. What a little wander, and I've arrived really now at the second location that I had planned before I came out here, and this is, you can see in the background, this little area of water here is called Haweswater, not to be confused with Haweswater Reservoir in the lakes, but this is, I didn't know this until I read the sign at the start of the walk, this is the biggest lake in Lancashire, or the biggest natural lake in Lancashire, which I thought was pretty cool, and it's stunning area, really beautiful scenery around here, lots of woodland as you can see off there in the background, and a lot of diversity as well within the woodlands. Now I found this beautiful scene looking back over the lake. There's a small little sort of dilapidated boathouse there, but I think it's going to be a really nice subject just to add a little bit of interest to what is already such a beautiful scene. And it just so happens there's a few really nice trees dotted about sort of around where the boathouse is, so that's only going to help the composition. I am going to get the tripod out because I'm shooting with the long lens, so I want to make sure it's nice and sharp. And I'm going to get set up around here somewhere. I just wanted to mention quickly, I should have said this at the start, sorry, but the 10-mile radius challenge, I'm going to wait till my next video, which will be on Sunday, just so you've got a little bit more time to, you know, use the hashtag on your Instagrams and stuff. I felt like doing it today was a little bit too soon, and I'll probably do that going forward. I'll just make it a weekly thing. So yeah, make sure you use that hashtag 10-mile radius HT. Right, I'm getting set up. So we're set up, and you know what? I think I'm actually really going to like this shot. At first I was thinking it was leaning a little bit towards a snapshot and one that I could return to, but I've got the ND filter on the front. I'm doing a little bit of a long exposure, or pretty long actually, it's about 30 seconds, and yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy this one once I get it in the old editing suite. And got the long lens on, like I said. I'm in at about 135mm. Now I want to explain my composition a little bit here, because it's quite interesting. You'll see here there's a fair few reeds which are pretty much going to be right in the foreground. They're going to fill up the bottom quarter of my whole frame, and I've got them there deliberately, and I'm playing around with depth of field a little bit, which is something I always like to do when I use the long lens. So I'm focused on the boathouse right off there in the distance, shooting at f11, but that means that these reeds are pretty much like kind of blurred out, which is a really nice effect in the foreground, I think. On top of that, because we've got the ND filter on, 30-second exposure is capturing all the movement in them reeds, so they're coming out really blurry. So it's a little bit of a creative effect, but I guess, you know, it runs in line with this 10-mile radius challenge and how we're all trying to, you know what I was talking about before, we're all trying to challenge ourselves or whatever. And I quite like the way that's coming out. And then obviously 30 seconds is smoothing out all that water, so that's a really nice, beautiful sort of silver colour. And then yeah, the background speaks for itself, as it so often does. We've got the beautiful boathouse. I've got him situated in the sort of bottom right hand third, and then some really nice trees, and there's a little bit of texture in the clouds in the sky. I think I'm going to try my best to bring some of that out in Lightroom, because I think it'll really help to add a bit of atmosphere and drama to the top of the frame. It's quite an atmospheric day, you know, there's a few bits of mist sort of lingering up in the trees back there. You can probably see that on that frame. So yeah, that'll definitely help. So yeah, I think I said the settings in our 30 seconds, f11 ISO 100, and pretty much like a 10-stop ND on the front. It's a variable ND that I'm playing around with. But yeah, another nice shot, and what a beautiful area as well. I think this is somewhere that I'd love, I always say this, but I'd love to return here at sunrise. Imagine a beautiful still lake. We got imagine that we'd have a few reflections and maybe a bit of mist lingering on the top. I think that would be beautiful. But yeah, pretty happy with this one. So I hope you guys like that shot, and I have got, what have I got? 680 meters to get back to the Red Beast. I bought this recently. It's just like a GPS watch, Garmin Instinct, if it's going to focus. And as you can see there, it's got those like really simple breadcrumb maps. I'm just kind of trying them out today, and they're absolute quality so far, mint. And I think maybe it could become like quite a useful tool for my photography. More so when I'm out on hikes and stuff, so I might have a little chat about it in the future. I wanted to just give you a quick reminder about the 10-mile radius challenge, if anyone wants to get involved in that. If you don't know what it is, basically draw a 10-mile radius around your gaff, or wherever it is that you live. Go out, take some photographs, put them on your Instagram and use the hashtag 10mileradiusht. Then I can find them, and then I'll put them up on Sunday's video. I'll choose my 3 favourites, or the 3 that kind of stand out to me the most, you know. But that's cool. Like, thank you guys again for like getting involved. It's quality. And yeah, I'm going home. I'm hungry. But I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thank you all for tuning in and for the support, as always. And I'll see you on Sunday. Out.